We're sorry for the delay. We were waiting for one other person, but we do have a quorum, so we're going to begin. First item on our agenda is approval of our, of our minutes of our last meeting. Could I have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Any corrections or additions, changes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Alderman Sufferton, will you take payroll and the bills list?
Sure. Item A1 is payroll January 22nd, 2018 through February 4th, 2018 in the amount of $3,079,462.01. The bills list from February 27th, 2018 is in the amount of $1,520,935.04. And I move approval.
Second.
All right. Any questions on the bills list? Anybody? All right. We'll ask Alderman Braithwaite when he gets here, but let's just move on. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Simmons.
A3.1, staff recommends City Council approval of a pilot landlord rehabilitation assistance program to support improvements and repairs for rental units that are committed to be rented to households earning 60% of AMI. The proposed budget is $200,000 for the 2018 fiscal year and will be provided from the Affordable Housing Fund. The Affordable Housing Fund has a current uncommitted cash balance approximately $800,000, and this is for action.
You know, are you going to move it?
Move approval.
Okay. I'm going to ask that we wait till Alderman Braithwaite gets here, and also Alderman Fleming is not here, and I know she had some questions. Should we just wait on this
We
one?
should
I'm
hold it.
sorry,
Yeah.
after I let you read the whole thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking. Okay, let's wait on that one. And, all right. Do the next one.
Sure. Staff
Sorry.
recommends, this is A3.2, staff recommends City Council approval of the purchase of 7 Ford SUVs and 1 Chevrolet SUV outfitted with lights, sirens, and other necessary equipment for operations. 4 Fords and 1 Chevrolet will be allocated to the Evanston Police Department Field Operations Division 2. 2 Fords will be allocated to the Fire Department Administration Division, and 1 Ford will be allocated to the Administrative Services Department Facilities Division. The replacement vehicles will be purchased from Curry Motors in the amount of $238,418.89. And this is for action.
Second. Any comments? All those in favor of recommending this to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item is a 1-year contract renewal for the purchase of emergency lighting and sirens from Havey Communications in the amount of $80,960. I move approval.
Second.
Any concerns or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next, Alderman Sufferton.
Sure. This is item A3.4, the criminal history applicant eligibility policy. Pursuant to Alderman Fleming's request, city staff met with Alderman Fleming and interested community members to review current hiring practices related to prospective applicants with criminal records and to update the policy in conformance with best practices. Our requested action is to accept and place on file.
Second.
Is there a second? All right. We have 2 people who would like to address this. One is Dale Griffin, and the other is Sarah Vanderwick.
Vanderwicken. She's a friend of mine.
Vanderwick.
Hi, my name is Dale Griffin. I'm an Evanston resident since 1986.
Even if you came here yesterday, we still welcome you.
Thank you. I spoke to you briefly in July when you started considering this new policy, which I was supporting, and I support your changes that you're making now. As I said then, I'm in a Unitarian Universalist prison ministry. A lot of Unitarian churches, including Evanston's, working towards making our congregations more welcoming, going into the prisons and jails to provide ministry, and advocating for less use of incarceration. So I support your efforts to make Evanston an example of a good place to seek and find employment for people who have criminal records. And I think the more that you can do on this, the better. That it'll make a big difference in the people's lives and also a big difference in the safety of our communities in the long run. So I thank you and urge your adoption of the policy.
Thank you. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Vanderwicken, and I am a relative newbie. I spoke also when this policy came up last year, and as a result of that, I was honored to be a part of the committee that Cicely Fleming put together to work on this. And I really am thankful that the staff made some improvements towards reducing barriers to city employment for people who have prior incarceration histories. But there's one sticking point that I really must speak to, and that is, and I spoke to this when I was here before, and it hasn't changed, and that is that under the policy in the last paragraph of this guidance, it states that if the applicant is hired, the results of and documentation regarding their decision on this person, including the background check and any ameliorating information, will be placed in the employee's personnel file. This is contrary to federal law in that the Federal Trade Commission, which has rules regarding credit checks, which include background checks, do not allow that kind of sensitive information to be put into a personnel file that is open to somebody's supervisor and who knows who. I made some copies of the information from the Federal Trade Commission that I'd like to give either to somebody from the law department or whatever, and I can give you a copy as well, that I just think this needs to be addressed and changed.
I think the most appropriate person would be to the city attorney. That would be the best thing. Thank you very much. Okay. That's very helpful. All right. Thank you. Shall we recommend that we move this on to the city council for approval? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, moving right along.
A 3.5, staff recommends City Council accept and place on file the proposed reimbursement and payment policy. Staff modeled the proposed policy based on Illinois Administrative Code, which establishes that all complaints for the recovery of damages shall be filed within a maximum 2-year time limit from the time that the produced commodity or service as to which the complaint is made was furnished or performed. This is for action to accept and place on file.
All right. Second, this was Alderman Braithwaite's concern regarding water bills that were overpaid, et cetera. So I'm sure he'll be pleased with this. We won't have to hold this for him. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. All right, next is we're being asked to recommend the city manager execute a 1-year contract extension for debris hauling with JL Contractors in the amount of $81,000. $38,000 is being budgeted in the water fund, $38,000 in the sewer fund, and $5,000 from the general fund. This is for action.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Just so that we can move this along, for the same contractor, we're being asked to recommend that the city manager execute a 1-year contract extension for the purchase of granular materials with J&L Contractors in the amount of $37,000. This contract is also, I didn't mention this, part of a bid by Municipal Partnering Initiative. For materials under this contract will be funded as follows: $21,000 from the water fund and $16,000 from the sewer fund. I move approval.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Alderman Suffredin?
Item A 3.8 is a contract with Monson Nicholas, Inc. for Service Center parking deck restoration. Staff recommends City Council authorize City Manager to execute a contract for Service Center parking deck restoration with Monson Nicholas in the amount of $526,074. Funding provided from the Capital Improvement Program, general obligation bonds, $500,000 from one account, and $26,074 from a different account. And this is for action.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Alderman Simmons?
Item A3.9, staff recommends the City Council authorize the city manager to execute a contract for the Lovelace Park Pond rehabilitation in the amount of $107,000. Funding will be provided from the Capital Improvement Program 2016 general obligation bonds in the amount of $100,000, with a budget of $100,000, and from the 2018 general obligation bonds in the amount of $7,000, with a budget of $15,000. This is for action.
Okay. Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
this
next
one.
is the Lovelace Tennis Court rehabilitation. We're being asked to recommend that the city manager proceed with the Lovelace Tennis Court rehab for construction in 2018. It's not budgeted, and funding is being proposed to be provided from the Capital Improvement Program 2018 GO bonds. Facilities contingency with a 2018 budgeted amount of $450,000. It's for action. Evidently,
Second.
this court is so bad that we're not even able to play on it. So I move approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving right along. Alderman Suffredin?
Item A3.11 is a sole source contract with Designs for Dignity for interior design services for the Fleetwood Jordan Community Center. Staff recommends the City Council authorize the City Manager to execute a sole source contract to provide interior design services for the Fleetwood Jordan Community Center with Designs for Dignity in the amount of $35,000. Funding for this project will be provided by the Good Neighbor Fund, which has a fiscal year 2018 budget allocation of $325,000 for this project.
Okay.
This is for action.
Second.
This, we have people signed up for this, and Pete Giangreco and Dan Stein. They here? Yep, there they are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel Stein, president of Friends of the Crown Center,
Great.
and I just wanted to take a moment to thank the committee.
Wait, are we on the right one? Wait.
Oh.
Nope, that's the wrong one. Sit down, Dan.
I will.
I thought you were going to say something nice.
You're next. You're next. I'm sorry. Oh, this is James.
Yeah.
Hi, James.
Hi, how are
I'm
you?
sorry, I saw you, and then I saw their name first on the list, so it's
Yes.
your turn.
I'm James England from the Fifth Ward. I'm 24 Brown in Evanston. I'd like you guys to improve the interior design for the Fleetwood Jordan Center. It needs it badly, and I really love that place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James.
This is a really special opportunity we have here with this one. Yep. All right, anybody else want to speak to this? This is a very special
Yeah.
project of the mayor's. He really wants us to use this money. All right, Alderman Simmons.
Yes, thank you. So you're right, Alderman Rainey. It's a very special project that the mayor has helped facilitate expanding the budget from the Good Neighbor Fund from Northwestern, that they have given $325,000 for interior improvements, and Designs for Dignity is going to expand that budget substantially and create more opportunities for interior renovation. So we are really looking forward to this in the Fifth Ward and the whole city. Really, it's the second most utilized Parks and Recreation facility in Evanston.
All right, thank you very much for adding to that. All right, any more comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending this expenditure to the council, say aye.
Aye.
All right, next item. Alderman Simmons.
A312, staff recommends that City Council authorize the city manager to execute a contract to provide construction management services for the Robert Crown Community Center, Ice Complex, and Library with Bullion and Andrews. The initial contract recommendation is for pre-construction services only in the amount of $41,510. A recommendation for construction services will occur upon successful completion of the pre-construction phase, completion of the project's design, documentation, and negotiation of the construction price. Funding for this project will be provided from Capital Improvement Project 2018 General Obligation Bonds. This is for action.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Yes, we have the partnership of Pete Giangreco and Dan Stein on this one. This is interesting because this appears not to be coming out of the Crown Fund, right? It's coming out of the Capital Fund. Go. Sorry about that.
No
I was
worries.
so excited.
But I will say, as a member of Parks and Rec Board, we're thrilled for Fleetwood Jourdain, which is a wonderful, wonderful community center as well. I just wanted, on behalf of the Friends of the Crown Center, thank you all for your consideration, and also just remind everyone of our continued commitment to raise funds for this transformational project. So thank you for your consideration, and we have some guests that are in the audience in support of the project as well. So thank you very much.
So this is going to be a Dan, this is going to be a tell us a little bit about what this is, why.
What we are voting on tonight is the Bullion Andrews was recommended to be the construction manager, the CM, opposed to the GC. And the construction manager will work hand in hand with the Woodhouse Tanucci Group when it comes to finalizing the final design, the schematic design, and construction documents. And by bringing in a construction manager at this point, it is a very efficient way to help get value engineer the project. So we are getting the most for our money for the project. Okay. So we're very, very pleased, and I think staff is pleased as well with this next step.
Excellent. All right. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending this to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next item is ordinance 34018 for introduction. We're being asked to recommend to the council to borrow funds from the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency Public Water Supply Loan Program for the construction of the Clearwell 9 replacement project. This ordinance authorizes the city to borrow up to $25 million. The debt service will be paid from the water fund. It's for introduction. I move approval
Second.
for introduction only.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of recommending introduction, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Alderman Suffredin? A5.
Item A5 is ordinance 11018, amending the City Code Title I, Chapter 11 to update operational functions with the Finance Division. City staff recommends City Council adoption of the ordinance 11018, which amends Title I, Chapter 8 of the City Code to reflect current city operations with respect to the Finance Division, and this is for introduction.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
A6, staff recommends City Council adoption of ordinance 32018, amending City Code subsection 346 to decrease the number of authorized Class D liquor licenses from 51 to 50. Cabul House, located at 2424 Dempster Street, is not renewing its liquor license. Staff recommends suspension of the rules for introduction and action at the February 12th City Council meeting. This is for introduction and action.
I'll second that. City Attorney, this is very interesting. Last time I was at Cabul House was maybe a month ago. So I said to the server, I'll have a glass of wine. And the server says to me, we don't have wine. And I ask that all the time. And they always say we don't have wine. And this time the guy said, we don't have wine because the city of Evanston is so difficult. We're not able to get a liquor license. It's our owner says they're just so difficult. I said, really? You should really stop saying that because that's just not true. And he said, oh, our owner says they're just impossible to deal with. And then I see this, And of course, I knew that we had given them a liquor license. I remember even being at one of at least several liquor commission meetings where we gave them, I think they were at 2 different meetings. And I looked them up when I saw this. Did something happen why they why they never had liquor?
Well, they apparently had some issues with timely remitting liquor tax payments. So if by difficulty they are referencing our attempts to enforce the ordinance to collect the liquor tax that was otherwise payable.
But at one time, did they actually have liquor in their store?
We do, yes,
Oh.
yes. And then after that, the business model's been interesting. So we've just tried to work with them to clarify whatever they wanted to do over there. And now I think they have taken the step of providing ultimate clarity by declining the license.
I must have missed that day when they actually had liquor. Okay, yeah, that's what they were saying. I just wanted to say that. All right, all those in favor of recommending that they no longer have a license because of their own action? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next is ordinance 31018, amending the city code by creating the new Class X liquor license. By creating this license, it will allow arts and crafts studios to sell beer and wine for on-site consumption. It's for introduction.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
I have a question.
Yes, oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Can you give me an example, arts and craft studio, like when you paint and have the wine? Or?
Yeah, I actually was at this liquor commission meeting.
Okay.
There is a group, including the people that own Little Beans, that are, I believe this is the one, where you go and you get a piece of wood and you carve it and you shellac it and then you have some wine and beer.
Okay.
And maybe you can then go to another place and knit something and have a glass of wine. And they assured us that you would not have a knife and carve wood and then have wine after you had the knife. That's what they told us.
Question. Is this any different than the painting and the wine?
That's what I was.
So what are we
I
really
think
doing differently?
The painting is a bring your own.
Oh, okay. Is that the case?
Yes. And it's always a wonderful opportunity to create a new liquor license classification, which is something that is near and dear to my heart.
Nice. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
Moving, no. Yeah.
This is,
What more could you want to know?
that's fine. That's fine. Crafts and liquor, it's fine.
I was there.
Okay.
That's really what they're going to do.
All right.
Carve wood, paint it, and I even asked them, it's usually things like Halloween and Christmas and birthday. It's your birthday on a piece of wood. And it's very popular.
Do we have a business proposal before us that wants to do crafts and liquor?
It's franchises
Oh,
or
okay.
something.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't keep up. I mean, that's what I was told.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. You call the question?
Sure. All those in favor of recommending this to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Alderman Suffredin.
Item A8 is ordinance 33018, also amending the city code section 3-4-6 by creating the new Class F2 liquor license. Local Liquor Commissioner and staff recommend City Council adopt Ordinance 33018, amending the City Code Section 3-4-6, create a new Class F2 liquor license for a retail liquor dealer / gourmet food and amenities store. This is for introduction.
Second.
Yeah. I think this is different than all the others, and I think we should charge them more. And I'm going to wait till we get to the counts. Well, I'm going to suggest right now that this license should be $45,000 to start and $15,000 on renewal, because they're about 25,000 square feet, and that's mostly liquor. I know that they have, cheese and stuff, but this is a real opportunity for Binny's, I believe, and I don't think they equate to the other $40,000 licenses. I just think they have a bigger opportunity there, and so I've heard people want more of a license fee, but I think $45,000 is a real fair price, and that's what I think that, considering the $40,000 license and the $13,000 renewal, I'm going to move an amendment to those two numbers of $45,000 and $15,000. So I'm moving that. I so move.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Could I ask a question first?
Yeah.
So how is this different if it's retail liquor dealer and gourmet food and amenities? How is it different than like a Whole Foods?
They're not a grocery store.
They're not a grocery
Yeah.
store.
This is a Binny's. Whole Foods is is a grocery store compared to another grocery store. Just Whole Foods.
But they're
just is not
selling
as big a grocery
retail liquor and also gourmet food.
Well, gourmet, I would say that their gourmet, their cheese is more expensive and wrapped maybe a little fancier. I think it's gourmet foods, but it's little sections. It's not. They have a gigantic. They are a wholesale big liquor store. They're not.
I'm familiar
They're not a
with
grocery store. Their primary focus is liquor. Primary store, and that's their primary liquor, beer, and wine.
And I'm sorry, I'm sure it's in the packet, but what is the fee for this license? For example, for a Whole Foods, so you're raising it to 45 from what?
Yeah. From I think theirs is
Chair Rainey, members
Yeah.
of the committee.
I have it in here someplace.
The closest comparator
Here I have it right here. Yeah.
is the F1 for the Whole Foods on Green Bay, which is 40,013. So this proposed change, I know that this was the subject of much discussion at the
Yeah.
Liquor Board hearing.
I have it here.
It's certainly a public policy decision that's within the purview of this committee and subsequently the City Council with respect to setting the fee and taking action on the amendment. I also know that Alderman Nguyen had some discussions with Binny's with respect to this particular issue and the definition of the food section in the ordinance, and that they were asking for some further tweaking with respect to that language before this ordinance is passed on second reading.
Also, packaged liquor store is 25. Also, they're the new ones. They're new.
They're
Things
new?
go up. Yeah. So they're 40, and yep. So I think it's a very fair price, 45. Alderman Nguyen, would you like to speak to this?
I couldn't quite hear.
Come up to the microphone. I'm amending the license.
Did you know that Binny's has asked that the item not be heard tonight.
How would I know that? Nobody tells us anything.
I thought that I talked to the city manager right after they contacted me about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh, he's sitting right there.
Chair Rainey, I tried to indicate in just my remarks, but yes, let me confirm that they asked that this matter be held over with respect to further discussion on the definition with respect to the food service on site.
No, they've asked that the entire item be held over so that they can meet with the law department and work out some language differences that they have, and so that they're perfectly clear. And my apologies to Alderman Rainey that I didn't contact you directly to let you know that.
And my apologies, I thought you were heading there. And so, as she was beginning to talk, and then the conversation continued. So it's my fault, Alderman Nguyen told me, so my apologies to the committee.
Well, what if we have to do? I mean, okay, well, I still like the 45,000. All right, well, okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So everybody in the room but the committee knew this, so that's really, did you know this? No? Okay. All right, moving right along. Okay, I think we're finished. We're finished, okay. I think we had one item for discussion, did we? Yeah. Steps towards home ownership, which I think is a waste of time, but I guess we can discuss it anyway. That's my personal opinion. Sarah, would you like to come up and present?
Thank you, Alderman Rainey. Sarah Flax, Housing and Grants Administrator. Really what we are providing in this memo is just an update on information that we have gotten. We aren't proposing programs per se right now. We know it's an interest, but we are continuing to provide updates on other things we're finding in the marketplace that are already going on, and we're in the process of working on an information page on the website that we think will help provide people opportunities to buy homes more easily in the meantime, while we're working on other things with the IHO committee and other parts of the whole affordable housing thing. The one thing that we actually would like consideration by the committee in terms of a recommendation is the request that we be allowed to look at the double lot at 2122 Darrell and use it as a test for a special use to see if we can develop a way of making what we're calling small lot homes, more modest size homes on smaller lot sizes.
I have a
than
suggestion.
Normally allowed.
Before we do something like that in the 2100 block of Darrow, why don't we take a look at the stretch on Central Street where Bill Smith, who so smartly analyzed the strip on Central Street where the zoning board denied, because of the space, the wonderful presentation by the Skirmahorns of the townhomes that would have been a wonderful project, but because they were too many homes on too small a space, but in a perfect neighborhood for that kind of thing, I would like to see us analyze that. Instead of stuffing two little homes on a little lot on the 2100 block of Darrow, let's try putting some lovely little homes up on Central Street. Isn't that what we're all talking about? Or are we talking about stuffing some little homes on the 2100 block of Darrow? I'd like to see us take a look at that Central Street strip. Let's see what we could do up there. Come on.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. Let's put some affordable homes up on Central Street. That's what I'd like to see. I would really like to see that. And at the same time, maybe on Darrow. But let's not forget what happened up on Central Street last week at Zoning Board of Appeals. We do, everything we've done in the last month and a half has been to keep affordable housing out of the city of Evanston. We've denied developments, we've denied this, we've denied that. Let's start looking at ways to make affordable housing in Evanston.
Well, I'm happy to look into the Central Street thing. The difference is, the reason we were bringing up the 2122 Darrow is it is a property owned by the city that we have some control over.
I know. But you know what? We have control over our zoning. Yeah, we do, yeah. And let's start taking control over that. And I'm going to make some referrals tonight at Call of the Wards, and that's going to be one of them. But you're in that department. You know, you have a really responsible job. Let's start looking at those things.
Okay.
I'd like to support looking at those things, as Alderman Rainey is saying, but also moving forward with exploring the lot that is currently owned by the city, as well as other lots that are owned by the city, underutilized parking lots and other city assets that could be an option for affordable housing in all wards.
Okay. We actually are working on one that's will be hopefully brought to council. We just need more information on that one to bring it forward.
Thank you. And do you have a timeline on when we can start getting this information and resources to the residents on mortgage products and financial counseling and other strategies to work towards preparing for home ownership?
Hopefully in the next, I don't want to say the next month, I think that's a little aggressive, but certainly by the end of April or early May, we think we can have something up and running, and we'll just keep building on it. We met with a very interesting BBMC Mortgage, which is actually a division of Bridgeview Bank that has a standalone group that works specifically on FHA and specialized mortgages through IDA. Very comprehensive group, not exclusively, other mortgage companies do this as well, but they really have a very robust program. And what we'd like to do is what we did with the NSP2 program, where we had what we considered preferred lenders for people, just lenders who really know this business and are much more able to help home buyers. Some of the mortgage companies will specialize in only one or two of the products. BBMC, for example, works on virtually every kind of IDA, Federal Home Loan Bank, and some of the other very specialized mortgage projects. Products, excuse me.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Second.
Madam Chairman, members of the committee, you had deferred action on item 3.1 pending Alderman Braithwaite. So I think just for the record, is that going to be held until the next?
Yeah, we might as well.
Okay.